Hi everyone. We're going to work on making the part for the lesson called Extrude, or the exercise called Extrude in the latest. Oh my gosh, what is the name of the darn thing? Well, we'll get to it in a second. I can't think of what the name of the overall lesson is, but you know what? We'll find out in a second because what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Learning Center and we're going to go into self-paced courses, and we're going to go to Onshape fundamentals, and the one we want to do, there it is, part design using Part Studios. No wonder I couldn't remember it. That's kind of long and vague. All right, so of course what I'm expecting you to do is watch these first three videos, and then we're going to do the exercise Extrude. So here it is. When it's all said and done, we'll have made this part. And here are the step-by-step instructions. So we're supposed to make a new document, set it to millimeters. I've already actually done that. And there it is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part. Okay, so first thing we're supposed to do is sketch this rough drawing. Remember, you guys don't have to put in dimensions right away. You can just make the shape in general and then let the dimensions come later. Okay, and so one of the things that does occur to me is it looks to me as if the centers of all the circles lay on the same horizontal line. So I'm going to make sure that I put horizontal constraints between those. Everything else seems to be pretty straightforward. So let's go back to our Part Studio, and we are going to start a sketch. And that sketch is going to be on the top plane. So I'm gonna bring my top plane back so I can see it and make a new sketch. And then I'm gonna hide it again. I'm gonna click the N button in order to have a normal view. And let's start making this thing. So the first thing that there was a vertical construction line extending upward from the origin. So I'm gonna click L for line, Q for construction, hover over my center point and draw a line up. Okay, now a lot of circles here, so let's get the center circle tool by clicking on C, hover over that origin. I'm going to make a couple circles that are concentric with one another. Remember, concentric means sharing the same center. Okay, also I'm going to make the pair of circles that are on either side. Now what I want to do is I want them to line up horizontally with the origin. So I start by hovering over the origin. It gives me a plane of reference. Come out here, make a couple circles. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Oops, I didn't mean to click there actually. Let's try that again. I just meant to hover there and then go out and make a couple circles. And there you go. Okay, now there's some lines that connect these. And so I'm going to click L for the line tool. Start near the top, but not exactly at the top. And I have to hit Escape after each line and L again to start the line. Remember, if you're connecting a bunch of lines together, you don't have to start the line command every time, but these lines are not connected, so I do. And there we go. And one more. And you notice it's roughly what we were supposed to make, but not exactly. That's okay because it's, oh, there's one last thing. I'm sorry. There's a rectangle, a center point rectangle that goes in the middle. Center point rectangles are great if you want to define the center. So I'm going to make that about there. And there we go. Okay, so now you can see, if I bring that tab back down, that we've made approximately what they're asking for. So let's go to the next slide and let's see what they want. These lines should be tangent to all three circles. So what we're going to do is, well, let's follow the instructions carefully. It says use the equal constraint to make both circles in pair A equal, as well as both circles in pair B equal. And then let's be sure to include the tangent relationships that meet where the lines meet the circles. Okay, so going back to my thing, the first thing they want us to do is put equal constraints between the pairs of circles. So I'm going to make this one and this one equal. Why didn't that work? Because I guess I didn't hit the E. There we go. When you switch back and forth between windows, often you fail to remember that you have to click on that window to get it back. Okay, so now both of the circles are equal, and then we have to do tangent constraints. I'm going to hit the T key for tangent, and I'm going to go between the line and this circle, and the same line and that circle. I'm going to go between this line and the little circle, and this line and the big circle. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get all the lines tangent to all the circles. One more, and there we go. Okay, remember that tangent, it just causes that nice smooth transition. You get a cool looking shape there. All right, so let's look at our instructions again and see what we're up to. We are supposed to select the circle, the center point of these circles on the construction line to make a symmetric sketch constraint. Okay, so in other words, whatever happens to over here is going to happen over here. In other words, what that's actually going to do is keep our parts centered. Okay, and that's a good thing. That's what we want. So let's go ahead and do that. The symmetric constraint is this one right here. I'm going to click on that, and I think I don't really know how to use this one as well, so I'm going to actually highlight those two dots first, and then click symmetric, and then click this. Yeah, there we go. So I highlighted the points that I wanted to be symmetric, and then once I clicked the tool, I found the line of symmetry. Okay, so now this thing will always be centered, and the distance between this dot and the center line and this dot and the center line will always be equal. All right, cool. What else are we supposed to do? Let's see. Next, dimensions. Okay, so we've got a number of dimensions. We're going to dimension all the circles. And you notice they only have dimensions on this side of the drawing. Well, because we set the pairs of circles to equal, once I dimension these two circles, this one will receive the same dimensions. Looks like I also have to do an overall dimension of the width of the part, and then the rectangle itself. Okay, I can handle that. So I'm going to move this to my second monitor so I can keep it in my view. Let's start with dimensioning all the circles. So I'm going to click D for dimensions. Nope, I have to click actually on this window first. Then I'm going to click D for dimensions. And this one is supposed to be 35. This one is supposed to be 20. Okay, which automatically takes care of that one. The big circle here is supposed to be 70. And the smaller circle will be 35. Okay, now as far as the dimensions of the rectangle are concerned, the width of the rectangle is supposed to be 45, and the height of the rectangle is supposed to be 10. And there we go. Okay, so if you notice, it's still not fully constrained, but that's because we could still, if we wanted to, move these in and out. We haven't defined the width of this thing yet. Okay, so how are we going to fix that? Well, with that overall dimension they were talking about. Now, it said it wants a dimension to the outside of the circles. I'm not sure how that would work. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to put some points in here. And I'm going to hover over the center here, go out until I reach the circle, and that will give me a point at the outermost part of that circle. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, come over here, and click. Now I've got 2 points to dimension to, and I think that's actually going to work better. So I click D to get back to my dimension tool. I'm going to click this point and this point, come down, and make that 250. Now we are fully dimensioned. All right, what is next? What is next is some extrusions. Okay, so it looks like we're going to extrude part of it, but not all of it. Okay, that's fine. So let's extrude the right half. And of course, we're going to have to finish our sketch in order to do that. And when I do extrudes, I like to have the isometric view. That way I can see what direction the extrude is going and what I got. Okay, so I'm going to click the extrude tool. I need this, and this to get what was matching. Well, there it is. Now the depth I was supposed to do was 40 millimeters according to the instructions, and there it is. So I'm going to click the green checkbox, and that's what I got. Now if you notice, once I finish the extrusion, our sketch is gone. Well, that's no big deal. We can bring it back by clicking on the eye symbol. Okay, now let's look at the instructions again. And they would like us to extrude the rest of it, a blind extrude at 25, and add. So let's do that. So I'm gonna shift this around a little bit so I can see what I'm looking at. And I'm gonna click the extrude tool. I want this part and this part. They were supposed to be 25, which is the default, so, and it's already on add, so I just click it and voila. I'm gonna hide that sketch now because I don't want to see it when I'm looking at my part. And there's my isometric view. Now what else do they want us to do? I noticed we weren't at the very end there. They want us to rename the part bracket. Okay. And by the way, this isn't a bad, thing to do when you're doing your own designs, is to give these things names that are meaningful. Part 1 is not very meaningful. If you actually have a name for it, and then you're making an assembly or something, then you can know what you got. All right, so there's our bracket. More instructions. We're going to assign the material steel 1020 to this part. Okay, we all remember how to do that. So we're going to right click on the bracket part, assign material. There's a lot of different kinds of steel, so I'm actually going to type in steel 1020. And there we go. This is now steel 1020. Okay, let's see what I'm assuming the last step is probably checking the mass. It sure is. Okay, so we're going to check the mass and try to remember the number that we come up with. So you click on the scale, click on the part, and the mass is 290206. Okay, now I assume we're going to do a little check here, and we're at that last slide, so we're going to click the next page. Begin self-check. Now you notice it says 2.902, but that's because it's in kilograms. Okay, that is what 2902 grams is in kilograms. Now, if that bothers you and you want to fix that, let's go into the workspace units and change grams to kilograms. Okay, if we do that and we click on our mass properties now, notice it says 2.902 kilograms. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and select that as our answer, see the results, and bingo, we got it. All right, so that is the extrude.